All right, don't fight me because I know how you girls like to tussle. Today, we're going to talk about things in your space that are making it look dated and how to make it look a little bit more modern. So again, I want to put this disclaimer out here. This is just my opinion. If you have a different opinion than mine, that is perfectly fine. That is why we are put on this earth, to have differences of opinions. I'm just telling you what I think is making your space look dated. And to put myself out there, like honestly, I've been here. I've been here before. So I'm kind of, calling myself out in the process. But I want to help you guys achieve a more luxe space without breaking the budget to do so. Because one thing I don't do, here on this channel, is spend a whole bunch of money to make my space look really nice. Just because I say to make something look more modern or more luxe does not mean that it has to be expensive. They are not equivalent, especially not in my book. Let's throw some things out there. Let's start with number one. Especially, this is for my people who rent apartments. And even when you buy a house, especially if you buy an older house. The first thing that's probably making your space look dated is the paint, the wall colors. They're probably an eggshell, very pale yellow, early 2000s color. If your landlord allows it, if you are renting, paint the space. And if it's your home, paint the space, okay? Paint it to more of your personality, your aesthetic. I like clean white walls. So thank God when I moved into this apartment, they already had clean white walls. Because if they didn't, I would be painting them, every single one. So get rid of the eggshell paint color. It's gotta go. The second thing that could be dating your space is your doorknobs. Now I mentioned something similar in my apartment upgrade video. Be sure to check that out right after you finish watching this one. But switching out your doorknobs are so simple. One thing I hate is going into a space and they have those old gold round doorknobs that are chipped, or silver doorknobs that are just round and just old and dingy, maybe a little dented. Doorknobs, just like cabinet handles, are easy to replace. They're super easy to replace. They're cheap to replace. Again, if you're renting, be sure to hold on to the original so that when you move out, you can get your deposit back and you can replace them. So I say change your doorknobs. And if you want to keep a round doorknob, check these out. These are pretty cool. These are like these round black matte doorknobs. I really like them. Yes, I am biased. I love matte black. Okay, it doesn't have to be matte black, but I'm just saying these are cute. I also seen them in a nice wood texture, which is also really nice. But just modernize your doorknobs. It's something easy, like I said, to replace. The next thing that is dating your space and that you can bring up to date now, and it's a simple change: vertical blinds. Apartments love to give you these long vertical blinds for windows where you can just and then no, it's time to let those go. Okay, another thing in conjunction with this, dated curtains, the ones that have your little sachet, I don't know how to explain it, and then they're like pulled to the back, like, it's dated. It's time to let it go. These are such easy upgrades to make. Pulling down your blinds, and I'm sure your landlord, if you rent, won't mind you doing this. Again, always check, you never know. They may have some special attachment to their vertical blinds, but I would hope not. Take them down. You can buy pull down shades, like a one shade from IKEA. They can be automatic and smart home. You know how I do. And if you're gonna do curtains, I say do panel curtains, but buy more than one curtain for each side. Okay, it looks cheap, it looks thin, it looks like it's missing panels. Buy more panels and just keep them straight. You don't need to drape them. Draping is dated, okay? The next thing that could be dating your space, number 4. Sometimes we really don't have control over this. Like I've mentioned a number of times, in my apartment, I am allowed to remove the carpet. If you are allowed to remove the carpet in your apartment or in your home, I would say do so. Especially, in particular, thick pile carpets. You know those old, thick, shaggy carpets that you kind of like braid and stuff like that? I think those are dated, especially when they're in a bright color. Let's try doing a low pile carpet if you can, or getting an area rug to kind of cover the carpet if you can. Remember, an area rug that fits your size of your space. I talked about it in this video here about design mistakes that you're making, and one of them was an area rug. So if you can't pull up the carpet and switch it to a more low pile carpet, putting an area rug in its place would be a good suggestion or a good fix for the time if you rent. If you don't rent and you own your home, maybe pull up the carpet. especially if it's the thick pile carpet that you can braid with your hands. I think it's dated and it's making your space look dated. The fifth thing that's making your space look dated, your light fixtures. Now, my name is Sabrina Latoya and I've talked about lighting a bunch of times on this channel. Lighting is huge for me. I think lighting literally drastically changes a space, but we're here really to talk about the fixtures in your space. I mentioned this again in one of my apartment upgrade videos. Change the lighting fixtures in your space, but also change them to a size appropriate fixture. If you have a really big space, God bless you, but you may want a bigger fixture in your space. And you may want to fill up the space a little bit more. If you have this small little one pendant light and you have like, you know, an 800 square space and it's just this one little small pendant light coming down in the middle, it's probably not gonna look right. And vice versa, if you have a really small space, there's no reason why you should have a hotel lobby sized chandelier in your living room. And along with that, ceiling fans. You should replace it. There are so many other modern ways to cool down your home without having an AC. You can buy different cooling units that look modern, or even switching out the ceiling fan to a more modern ceiling fan. Although I'm not a fan of ceiling fans, I just say switch it out. Number 6, dated furniture. I don't want to advocate for going out and spending unnecessary money if you don't have to, or if you don't have it. But sometimes your furniture could be dating your space. So if you have an older dresser that's, you know, a little bit more antique, a little bit more vintage, has been around, you know, been through grandma, maybe auntie, uncle, passed it down to you, and you've been using it, maybe you don't have the money to replace it, but maybe you have the time to refinish it. Maybe jumping into a DIY project and stripping the sealant off and refinishing it and adding updated knobs or furniture pulls could revitalize the piece of furniture and can make it more modern again. It's not always the best idea to go out and buy cheaper furniture that's more modern and then throw out your old dated furniture, but that's really good quality. Sometimes I think it's worth investing in the time to update and modernize your furniture if you have the time. If you don't want to do that, then sis, go out and get you a new piece of furniture. Okay, let's bring it up to date. Let's not do matching furniture sets. I've mentioned this before. But let's bring it just a little bit more current. The 7th thing that could be making your space look a little bit more dated, saggy sofas. So one thing I mentioned in my apartment tour video is that I purchased a couch that I don't necessarily love in the aesthetic, but it is good quality. I lay all over this couch every day. My boyfriend and I both lay on this small couch back to back, 2 bodies of weight, and it never sags. So if you don't have the money to go out and replace your sofa, even though I suggest buying a good quality sofa from the start, try investing in either steaming your sofa, steaming it clean. I have a little green giant that I use. It's so good, especially if you have pets. Try steaming it, removing the covers, washing them, and replacing the inserts. So the cushions in the inside, see if you can replace those. Maybe go back to the furniture store that you bought it from, or go to a Michael's or something like that and try to replace the cushions inside if they're starting to sag. And you can DIY them yourself. Just find thick cushion, thick foams, and replace them. It'll bring your sofa back to life, and it'll also save you from buying a whole new sofa if you don't feel like you need to, if you don't have the means to either. So that's what I would suggest. All right, and like I mentioned before, this is tip number 8. I feel like some of you will not agree with me. And again, this is my video and my opinion. Gold accents. Now, hear me out. I have gold in my apartment. I have gold in different spots, but it's not overwhelming. And that bright yellow gold from like the 90s that you would find on trimming on like glass shower doors and just everywhere, glass and doorknobs. And I think it's time to retire that kind of gold in the abundance in your space, right? So you can still add accents of gold, even though I would prefer brass. You can still add these accents in your space, but like picture going into Home Goods and you see this whole section full of gold items, you know, with like the gold vase and like the gold ball and like gold this and that. Usually there's a lot of them because it's dated. And the whole bling thing too, the glam, is dated. I'm sorry, I don't want to hurt anyone's feelings, but it's starting to look dated and it's looking a little bit cheap as well. It just looks like you went to Home Goods, you went to a certain section and you just bought everything from there. I think it's better to come more current and do things like more textures, right? Different types of textures will be a little bit better than adding a whole bunch of gold or glam items in your space. The ninth thing that's making your space look dated, wall decals. Family and friends who gather here, live, love, laugh, with the little squiggly lines and stuff, and you put those over your sofa or over the entryway in your home. I get that you're trying to personalize your space, but it's giving, I went to Dollar Tree and bought some $1 decals and stuck on my wall. It's not giving luxury, it's not giving quality, high quality, it's just not giving. So if you want to personalize your space, do something more like a gallery wall. I posted a video where I did a DIY gallery wall from Dollar Tree, but I made it more modern, more current. I added my own mats inside of it and I took my own pictures. Try doing something like this and adding a gallery wall to your space instead of doing, you know, the live, laugh, love and family and friends gather here quotes. It's dated, it's tired. And when you do gallery walls, try and either stick in the same kind of frame family or stick in all the same color frames. That way it'll look a little bit more modern, more up to date, and not just like a whole bunch of family photos hung up all over the wall. And the 10th thing that's making your space look dated, clutter. If it doesn't bring you joy and you don't use it every day or every other day, or it's just something that's just like a knickknack just sitting around, clear out your space. Put things in your space that really only mean something to you. And if all these things mean something to you, then they should find a home. The more you clear out your space, the more modern and clean looking it will look. The more intentional your space will look. And the things in your space will really mean something to you. So I 100% say declutter your space. I live by that. I know sometimes it's hard, storage is limited. Trust me, I understand. I am bursting out of the seams in this apartment. Fingers crossed. This is the last time I'm in this apartment. One rule that I like to live by is that if it doesn't bring me joy and if I'm not using it and I don't see myself using it, then it's time to let it go. Donate it. I'm a big proponent of donating items that you don't use. I see some of you guys who come from me and say, why would you get rid of that? Why would you throw that out? I don't. I donate my items and I suggest that you do that as well. There are families and charities in need who can use your things. And if you are really focused on making your space look nice, you can also do that while giving away and giving your items away for a better cause. All right, so I hope this video was helpful. Like I mentioned, be sure to check out my other videos. This one where I mentioned all the things that you're doing wrong design-wise in your space and all of the upgrades that I made in my space in my apartment that I think you can do as well. And again, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. You don't know how much that helps this channel. It really does. And I'll catch you guys in my next one. Peace.